Married men. How often do you hang out outside of work with single women? Some of my platonic friends are single women I know from work. They often come to my board game nights. I hope they'll hook up with my single friends. Edit. You are nice and all, but I want to make it clear I'm not running these game nights and inviting single women in order to help my single friends out or anything. That's creepy. I invite them because they are also my friends and I enjoy their company the same as any of my male friends. If something else happens, that's a nice bonus, but some of you are acting like I'm running a singles bar. I'm not. Whatever board games you're playing, you are your friend's MVP. Whatever board games you're playing T4 mostly so. Yeah, big time. You are married, employed and have time. Gore Twilight Imperium. Is it possible to learn that power? Like one-on-one, these days hardly ever, but between work and kids, I hardly have time to hang out with anyone one-on-one. Pre-kids it was occasional. I have a bunch of female friends that I have been close to since long before I met wife. I see most of them less now. I see everyone less now, and when I do see them, it's usually in a group setting. I don't know what you mean by outside of work. I have female work colleagues who I consider friends, and we will have lunch pretty often, one-on-one. I hardly have time to hang out with anyone one-on-one. 100%. If I'm meeting up with someone, I have to actually make a calendar entry to coordinate childcare coverage. So it might as well be a few people. I'm all about the 4-person group these days. Small enough to have room for a closer connection. Big enough to keep the social vibes flowing the whole time. I've traveled cross country to go see one friend. I've stayed over in a guest bedroom at a female friend's house. My wife doesn't like bars, and I have a female friend that I go out with for karaoke fairly often. It's nice trusting and being trusted. I had an older sister that died when I was a teenager. It turns out I've always craved that kind of relationship. May I pick your brain? Were you friends before you were married? Do you have good communication with your wife? Has it ever bothered her? And if it did, how were you able to resolve it? I'm sorry for your loss, and what you said makes sense. You have a lot of self-awareness to notice that. Occasionally. But it also depends on what you mean by hang out with single women. I mentor a handful of people younger than I am, and a couple of them happen to be single women. So about once a month we get together for a coffee or something like that, and talk about career/business goals, what they've got going on, etc. I also know a number of women who are single through recent divorces/breakups, and there's a handful of the husbands who rotate who will pop by when they need help on stuff. Usually have a drink or a bite to eat while we're there. Wife is all good with all of the above. She's even asked me to go meet a couple of her friends who wanted some advice from a man. We have a good relationship, and she trusts that I wouldn't do anything inappropriate. Now, if the question is if I would hang out with a single woman who I didn't have an established dynamic with, depends on the context, but probably not. I wouldn't just go out socially to have a drink without some other factors at play. I think as you get older the dynamic of men and women being friends changes. But even then it's been my experience that the just friends part tends to be stronger on one side than the other, and I'm not trying to cause an issue or put my wife in a position that she would actually feel uncomfortable. So one of my friends reached out to me. We had lost touch, but he was a great long-time friend. He moved back into the area with his new bride and he asked to go and grab coffee. There is no sexual history here. I have known him since I was 12. When we agree to meet, 30 minutes before he calls him and tells me his wife flipped because he told her as he left. I in turn bitched at him too. I also asked him to invite her as well so she could meet me in the future. His wife has since stalked me, and I had to block her on social media and many of the mutual friends they have with me because of this. I don't think there is anything wrong with hanging out with friends, as long as the wife is cool with it. Never, not even once, not even an imaginary hangout. Straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. To answer op, extremely rarely, nearly never. Then again that's mostly because I have very little opportunity to hang out with anybody, and when I do I usually want to spend my time with my wife, She and I trust each other more than anyone else in our lives. There's very little jealousy and we have a very healthy, communicative relationship. However, it's not impossible for circumstances to change, especially with jealousy. Resentment can fester quickly. It's a smart and safe choice to choose not to have solo time with anyone who could be perceived by your significant other as competition. Well, I'm widowed now, but when my wife was alive, never unless was mutual friends of her, and she was there also. Always went out of my way to make sure my wife never had a reason to think anything was happening when it wasn't. Sorry to hear that, dude. Hope you're well. It depends on the circumstances. Skinny dipping. No. A female friend seeking advice over a coffee or a drink. Yes. My wife is my best friend and I would never do anything that would destroy my best friend. She knows this, and this why we are together after all these years. Honestly, I don't know. I do hang out with some work friends at the bar under our firm sometimes. I have a few friends that are single, but we don't hang out as often as I'm married with a kid, so I don't get to hang out a lot as it were, so if I see them in person it's usually at a whole friend gathering. A few times a year at most, and yeah, I would hang out with single women. I don't think it's a real big deal. My wife is friends with some men too. Not a real big deal. If somebody is going to cheat, they'll find a way to cheat. Convenience won't change their character. It just speeds up the process. Well said. As someone who very much is instinctually drawn to that exclusivity, my reasoning has landed here too. I used to hang out with a lady friend, coworker, pretty much every day after hours, since there was a cool bar by our office and we could be about work and clients. But then she moved a few states away. We still keep in touch and she's gonna be my officiant at my wedding. My wife to be never minded. I don't see why I wouldn't. I'm not gonna cheat on my wife. That's way too much stress and work. I'd rather just divorce if that was the plan. Bonus, I'll let my wife to be do what she damn well pleases too, and she has the same sentiment. If she's gonna find a fling, she'll divorce. IDK why people cheat. It is hell of a lot of work for some dick/ass. Not a man, but my partner has a close female friend. She has known him for longer than I have. Sometimes they will get lunch and catch up. They will exchange messages if one or the other has news. It doesn't bother me at all. Wait, is it not common for a husband to message female friends just to chat outside of major news? Edit, I goofed and added major. Married woman here. We both message our friends of the opposite sex randomly. Hangouts, dinners, drinks, etc. We trust each other because we both know we are hotties, but we chose each other. Who am I to be worried about the female friends who have shaped him into the man I love, and who is my husband, to worry about the male friends who made me the woman that I am? That's our personal philosophy anyway. If other people think differently then cool. Hiking once a week with a friend. Same. Nice try, Jennifer. Never, and no, I'm married and I'm not about to get divorced. Agreed, I love my wife and wouldn't put myself in a situation that could jeopardize what we have. Never go stupid places with stupid people to do stupid things. That's how you ruin your life, right? I'm not gonna pretend I have the mental fortitude to be immune from any temptation. I just don't. But don't you care about your wife? Absolutely, 100%. Which is why I'm not going to put myself in those situations of repeated potential temptation. It's a poor analogy, but I also cared a lot about my mint condition E30. Then I wrapped it around a tree by routinely playing as if I was Mario Andretti. These comments are just fascinating as a bisexual. By the logic here, I wouldn't be able to have any friends. It's really not that hard to just not sleep with other people while you're in a relationship. That would require friends and or social skills, neither of which I have. But if I did, I don't see a problem with hanging out with a single woman. Similarly, I would be okay if my wife hung out with a single dude. Why you poor mouthing your social skills, but then end with, but my wife. I don't hang with women I have not introduced to my wife or my wife doesn't trust. Simply because I sleep in my house and drama is not my thing. This should apply not just to single women but to women in general that I hang with. If the woman is married, I will introduce myself to the husband. If he shows signs of distrust, I back off. Because I respect the institution called marriage, I don't want to be the reason for drama in their household. Never. Too much potential for misunderstanding. I love my wife and want her to feel comfortable. I have plenty of friends who are taken or not interested in men. In a group setting, no problem. But yeah, no one-on-one hanging with hotties. That's how you get things just happened, and one thing led to another. Monogamy is a continuous, ongoing choice, and you have to keep yourself out of stupid situations. A stupid situation does not make you cheat. Being a cheater makes you cheat. Not all cheating is sexual. Where do you draw the line? Flirting is a kind of cheating. For me, if you wouldn't tell your spouse about what happened, it probably isn't kosher. This is the right answer. The second things are hidden is the second it becomes wrong. Never. Never. I have a problem that I'm super friendly and, according to my wife, very charismatic, and this make women start flirting at me. This is my situation and I'm always oblivious to it, but she isn't. When I was younger, I used to choose this battle on the ground of we are friends and have been, but seeing her be right more than once was plenty for me to just stop trying. Does everyone here have a problem with self-control? Sir, this is Reddit. What are women? Sure, I have many friends who are single women and I have no probs meeting with them. Sometimes alone. Same with my guy friends. This makes me happy to hear. Never. I'm curious why this applies to single women only. Theoretically, you could end up having an affair with a married woman as well. Does anyone follow Mike Pence's rule of never dining alone with a woman? TBH, I don't think it's that crazy. As the saying goes, affairs don't start in bedrooms. They start with a look. Apostrophe. Never. I'm older and wiser now. No, never. Why would I hang out with a single woman? I've got enough problems.